Patty, I'm so excited to finally meet you. I'm a fan of your work. I love what you do and how you bring so much life and passion and art to the world of music. So, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Oh, thank you for the warm welcome. That's so sweet.
I'm really excited. I've been enjoying reviewing some of your music and just listening to it. So I'm honored you agreed to speak with me. Talk to me a little bit about who you are and what music means to you.
All right. Um, so I guess I'll start by saying I started my career as a YouTuber, and I kind of got into playing a really funny instrument.
Yeah.
It's called a Hurdy Gurdy. It's got its roots in the medieval times. It's a string instrument, and the first time that I played it, I completely fell in love with it. You have to imagine that if you have that instrument on your lap, and then you crank basically you crank a wheel, which is also the bow. It's a bit complicated, but that creates the sound and it makes the whole body of the instrument vibrate. And that feels like it's alive. I was like, oh my God, like this is like an alive baby. Like, what is going on? I never felt that with any other instrument. So I instantly got hooked. And I knew that I was gonna make that part of my identity as an artist because that instrument is so versatile and you can play it in so many genres that I was like, okay, I'm going all in and I want to tell the world about it because I was so excited about it. So that's what I did with my YouTube channel. And yeah, I've been doing loads of solo music, but also been joining other bands. Like recently, I did some tours with Ailstorm. That's a Scottish pirate metal band. So that shows you in how many genres you can play it. My genre I would call more like Celtic pop. So I just love mixing all kinds of European folk music with like a more modern touch. My personal songwriting, you know? And yeah, so I'm kind of discovering, yeah, new genres, new combinations like that. And of course, I have the best community. They're called the Guardians, which is
I love it.
Guardian and Gurdy, which is the name of my instrument. So yeah, things are exciting.
I absolutely love that. It's so sweet. And this is where I think also psychology comes into play, which, as you may know, is often also a focus of my channel. I love how not only you mentioned how your identity was formed around this and you found so much life in it, but also how your fans have built a community that is very specific to you. You know, I think that speaks to our desire to belong to something, to find a sense of identity and sense of self. I think that's beautiful how you brought that in. You said something interesting. You said the instrument felt alive to you when you were starting to play it. And it makes me feel like it fits very well to the energy you give off, your persona. You seem like a very lively person. The music you bring is full of life. And I have yet, I'm still on the journey of exploring your discography, but the songs that I've listened to so far, they always evoke some type of emotion. Talk to me a bit about how do you manage to put those things into your music and the lyrics and how you play. What does it do for you? And what are you trying to do for your listeners?
Right, I think as a songwriter, you go through lots of kinds of phases. Maybe it kind of syncs up with the phases of your life, you know? So when I started writing music at the age of like, I don't know, 13 or 14, so my songwriting back then obviously was very different to what it is right now. And there's not one way of doing it, of course. And if you change up your routines, that's actually where a lot of interesting things can happen. So on my latest release, the Tavern Album, um, I actually a lot of those songs were quite intentional towards that I guess I wanted to give something to my community, which is what I feel like is missing a lot in daily life and what I see reflected, what people tell me about. I wanted to give them a sense of community and a sense of a third place. So yeah, so the third place, for those who don't know, like the your first place would be your home, your second would be your work, and the third place is a place of community, which in a lot of our lives is kind of missing. So also because it gets commercialized or you just don't have time for it anymore, you're overwhelmed, the news are breaking every day and your brain is buzzing. And the third place is really supposed to be a place of balance, of where you can vent, where you can have fun, and where you basically can bloom. And to give that to my community, I wanted to do something special, which turned out to be an awfully big project of not only making a whole Tavern album, but also a whole Tavern movie. As I filmed 12 music videos for the 12 songs on that album to really bring that experience of Tavern into people's homes.
I love that. I love that.
That
I
was
feel
thick.
yeah, I could only imagine how much work went into that. I am confident your fans appreciate it, and I hope anyone watching this who may be new to your world, please go check out her work. It is so worth it. Listen to the Tavern album, subscribe to her. One of the recent songs I reviewed, it had me feeling a sense of great pride for one because of your German roots, are my roots as well, and it made me feel very what is the word? I'm getting emotional. It made me feel very connected to my ancestors. And that is a journey that I've been on, right? Trying to explore my ancestors, my lineage, because that ties into my sense of self, right? Our search for identity, meaning in life. That's how we deal with our existential fears, right? Give me something to belong to. And so when I listened to you, it made me feel this sense of connection, but it made me feel a sense of pride because you showed up with this beautiful blend of the ancient, and you take us with your music on this ride of back into history, but bringing it also into the present. It's this dance between the past and the present and the future, and it's so amazing. So it's very life-giving. So everyone listening, please go subscribe and watch her content, listen to her music. Why the word tavern? I have my thoughts, but why choose the word tavern for your album?
Oh, mm, I guess because it puts in the word itself kind of radiates everything I wanted to express with this third place thing. So it's like saying third place, but spice it up in a medieval way, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Just ever.
I like it. I love the word tavern because I suppose when we're thinking medieval times, tavern would be the place where everyone goes for community and connection. Is that not right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. So, I mean, it is more like I guess like medieval spice, but it's also quite universal and like you just get it in one word kind of. And then this is also something I was thinking, if I had a tavern, that's the kind of music I would want to play there. It's like
Yes.
blend of all kinds of uh influences of different kinds of folk, Swedish folk influences, obviously, like the whole Irish, but also like Northern French folk influences, really all kinds.
It fits well to what our channel focuses on when it comes to world music. How were you exposed to those different worlds? As you mentioned, you worked with all these great bands and big names that many know and love. And they're obviously from various places. I think you worked with Marco Hietala at one point, if I remember. Yes, when I saw that, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the perfect combination. I mean, you two are just match made in heaven,
Oh my God.
musically and when it comes to art and ability. So, how did that open up for you these collaborations with different people, artists from around the world, as well as bringing that into your music? What led you to want to bring in, say not just the Germanic or the German, but tying it in with different countries, languages? And for those who don't know, you speak multiple languages, you sing in various languages.
Yeah, exactly. Like one song I sing in German, but also another one I sing in Icelandic with an Icelandic folk singer. That was a challenge. I do not speak fluent Icelandic. I need to say this, but I did learn, like I have a bit of a vocabulary, so like I learned a lot of the pronunciation, and singing in another language is of course like another level of challenge because you gotta speak the words right. And yeah, Marco Hietala, he is singing a finish line, no, two finish lines, and in the song I Am With You, and the rest is in English. Um, I guess again, if you think about the tavern, what you have there is a lot of storytelling, because that's kind of what makes us humans into a community, right? We just love storytelling. That's kind of what we live for, and because we need to vent, but we also want to experience the people and the world around us, and that's of course through stories. And um, I just imagined again, if I had that tavern, what would I want to see there? And obviously, I would want to see and learn about a big variety of things. I want to see different people come in, some people that maybe really not a lot of people know, that are like from, the ends of the world in Iceland on like this lonely island in the middle of nowhere from the last village. Yeah, that's a singer I got on the album. And she's really cool.
Yes, yes. Oh, I picture this. I picture the setting of the tavern, just people of all shades of all nationalities and languages. I think that's such a beautiful picture.
Yeah. And then, of course, Marco Hietala, having him on this project is super extra special because I'm a big fan myself, obviously. Like everybody I've been talking to is a big fan of Marco. How can you not? Um, and I, in some way, also grew up with, the music that he's been in. And actually, the way I got him onto the project was via a colleague of us, and that's also another person I'm a big fan of. It's Arjen Lucassen. It's a Dutch guy, and he makes really cool, like proggy metal music, super big productions, like musical like. And I was talking to him, look, I have this love song. It's full with longing, and I need to find a partner that can really bring this experience and make the song into like a full circle, you know? It needs to be somebody who can sing this story and make it feel like, yeah, I believe you. Like, like this is an honest singer and who is not, I don't know, scared to sing a love song or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to do that, maybe, But I was just still looking for the perfect match, and he was like, "What about Marco? He is a true Viking." And I was like,
Yes.
he would be a dream, but how the hell would I get Marco on my project? He was like, give me a second," and then he did the whole magic. So props
I
to him.
love this. Aryan is such a cool person. I actually had the honor of interviewing him as well for a documentary I worked on, and I reviewed
Sick.
some of it.
Oh my God.
He is incredible. I love this community that I'm fine. Yes, genius, and truly, I reviewed some of his projects on the channel too, and I was mind blown when I first was exposed to his work. I love this community that I'm finding though, and I love that you all are connecting and meeting one another, because there's something so powerful about in each and every one of you that you guys are birthing in your art, but also at the same time, because no man is an island, they say, when you guys come together, and you're able to complement one another. It seems to me, would you say, let me not make it as a statement, I would ask, would you describe yourself as a person who feels things deeply?
Um, I don't want to give a super boring answer and just say yes because obviously yes, but
I feel like it's fairly obvious, but I didn't want to assume and make a statement. So I wanted to give you the chance. I think your art shows that you do, but I'd rather ask you instead of, imply what I perceive.
for sure. But to spice up the answer, I think it's maybe something I would like to put on the table is that about a lot of things I don't only even have one feeling about or one opinion about. often I perceive things, situations, conflicts, beauty, whatever, in multiple ways, as if I have, multiple parts in me looking at it from a different perspective. So I actually what I do often in my music is also I zoom into one of those perspectives and then talk about the story from only that perspective. Or, like I sing the lover, or I sing the a person talking about the beauty of life, or maybe more like all-knowing divine kind of character. So yeah, I like to think of life like that.
Yeah. Fully, it seems, I suppose. Is that the reason, or does that play into why you chose the titles you did for your albums and your EP prior to the album Tavern, the latest one? Because I noticed a pattern where your first EP was Shapes and Pattern, then you had Pest and Power, then Frost and Fairies, and I was very intrigued by your alliteration and your play on words, and I noticed that constant, duality. Is that why you chose those before you now came to Tavern, which feels like such a beautiful accumulation of all things life? Why those word plays, and why so repeatedly throughout your musical journey?
That's so funny because I thought that was so obvious that I was doing it, yet you're the first person to say it.
Really? I saw it and
Yes.
I'm like, I love this because that's how I communicate sometimes. I'm big on dichotomies and duality.
Yeah, I actually like creating a pattern and then just break it. Break it, break it, breaking it. But when I have a reason to, and this time I had a reason to, because this is more than an album, it's like this whole movie thing, right? Like,
Yes. Yeah.
so I was like, okay, no, no, I cannot keep going. This is the time to break it.
I love
Like, guys, I
that.
have something new, listen.
I love it. I feel like you broke the pattern in such a I'm looking for the right word. Mesmerizing sounds a little too eclectic. You broke it in such a forceful way, but it still fits. And what I mean by that is, you know how in life we go through this journey in our development, in our musical careers, where we're trying to find our way, right? And it's all part of who we are. But even when you break that and you present yourself in something new, it still fits, and it's still liberating people to do the same. So when I listen to you and I'm engaging with you, it's beyond just I'm observing, I'm listening, oh this is nice, oh she did something new. It ignites me, maybe that's a good word, to want to live that way too, to do that with my own career or my music or as a person. That's what's evoking in me.
Ah, you're like syncing up to the energy.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it makes me go, wow, this is living, right? This is living fully. To go, yes, I'm on this journey and I'm riding like the river, and we have all these elements, and we have the yin and the yang and the pattern and the shapes, and now something else, and I'm embracing it. Yes, you're embracing something new. You're not afraid to break the mold or any boxes that people tend to want to put us in. Your music and you breaking these patterns, you saying, I'm going to do something new. I'm not just going to go with my, you know, shapes and patterns. Let me try something new. This is where I am at in my life. Have you received any feedback in that regard?
Well, since you're the first one pointing it out,
Oh,
no, I mean, I guess what I can say is that oftentimes when you're creating a lot of things, it's good to have a frame. So that actually helps, because if all the options are out there for you, that often will actually kind of stop you from starting. So having a frame often helps. What I also found with my instrument is a drone instrument, the Hurdy Gurdy. So it can play chromatically, so like it has a lot of, like tones it can do, but it also has its limits. But having the limits actually makes me go like, oh, I wonder what I could still do with it, and I wonder if I can find ways to even go above them, and that's where you start to do all those tips and tricks and flageolet tones, and experiment with it. Um, and then sometimes when you're creating and you see that all of a sudden a frame doesn't work anymore, what I love to tell myself is, maybe you know about this, is kill your darlings. It's like a concept that says basically if you see that something is not working, even though you poured your heart into it and so much time, it's actually a very strong step to say, and I will kill it. And just completely be free of that and say, screw the frame.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's time to continue. Yeah. It's a bit of an ego death, you know?
Yes, yes, yes.
That's important. If you're an artist, you have to die the occasional ego death.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. You know, my mind is going 500 miles an hour because
Tell me
what
about
you're
it.
because you're speaking on things that are, I think, very relatable, right, to the human experience, right? We all have sacrifices to make. If we want to go above and beyond, we have to allow the frame that was guiding us to also push us beyond.
Yeah, I guess you can apply this concept to like even society and people living together, the rules we live by and stuff. So yeah, that's the macro version, I guess. Yeah.
One quote, what was it? It was from one of the followers of Freud, Otto Rank, I believe was his name. He said something along the lines of individuals try to, I will say it in my own words, they try to make sure that they don't take a loan out on life in order to avoid the debt of death. So they don't live life fully because they're afraid of borrowing from life, because they're afraid that now they owe death. And now they have a debt to death. And the irony is, death is coming for us anyways, right? And so just missing out on life, not living it fully because we're conscious or subconsciously trying to negotiate with death. Maybe it won't come for us if I didn't borrow too much in this life, is
Oh,
paradox. You know,
okay.
it's paradox because you don't owe death anything. Ich schulde dem Tod nichts, right? And we don't
Mhm.
owe death anything. It's coming for us. So why not take out a loan on life? Why not live life fully because we don't owe death any debt? And what you said makes me think of this quote and of living life fully. So how can I now be so alive and play my life's instrument in a way that I'm, living it fully? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it actually reminds me of a thing I heard once. Goes something like if you um okay, I might be butchering this, but if you live life safely, you will arrive at death safely. Like, what for?
Yes,
What for? Like, what are you here for? I
exactly.
want to see
Yes.
it. Show me your face. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. And the way you speak of music, it makes me think of that. You to me represent aside from the fact that you like look like a goddess, you're so beautiful and so fiery and full of life. Truly, I mean this. Your persona again, it makes me excited for life. Your music, when I listen to you, when I hear you speak, and I think that's beautiful. You're again igniting. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. You're igniting in me a hunger to create and to exist.
Oh,
Take a loan out on life, right? Because I don't owe death anything.
I mean, I'm so happy to hear this, and I need to say because this is like an absolute reflection of something I went through during the songwriting process of Tavern, because there were times where I was like super burned out or super down or just not inspired for anything, and often creative energy and life energy are like almost the same, right?
Yes.
And
Ooh.
as so many times when I meet musicians and they're like, no, I stopped making music. I'm like, oh, do you have depression? Because
Yes. Yeah.
9 out of 10 times it's the case. Like, this is different wording of saying I have depression,
Yes.
right?
Tell me you're depressed without telling me you're depressed.
Exactly, that's
Yes.
it. Yes. And one artist that does that for me was Grimes, uh, Canadian, like indie, super actually. Indie is a small word for the crazy stuff she does, but um, so and what it was for me that inspired me so much is that she's like, I will just go create my own universes, and then she makes it happen and it's almost like she's starting to paint in different colors, and I saw that I was like, hold on. If I don't like the current version of this, I can be the one changing it up. I can be the one making a new version, right? Like nobody can stop me. And then I was like, okay, I got really into the Celtic harp, and I was like, okay, I need a Celtic harp right now. Like I bought one off of a really nice girl not far from here, and immediately started practicing, and immediately started writing the first couple songs for Tavern.
Together, the two of you?
Oh no, I just
Oh,
bought
you
it
did. You
afterwards.
okay? Gotcha, gotcha. I was like, wow, that's networking real quick. I
Oh
see.
no,
Okay, so you play. You
no,
you
but
got
like
the instrument, and then you started writing.
yeah,
Okay,
it was a fast process, and all of a sudden, right? Like all
pouring
of a
out of you.
sudden, that was the spark I needed. So actually, the Celtic harp, like if it weren't for that instrument, Tavern wouldn't exist, I think.
Wow, I
Yeah,
love
because
that.
yeah, playing the harp is a bit like meditation. It's really, it really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how these words keep coming up that really fit to the idea of the tavern, right? It's pouring out of you. You said something earlier about putting it on the table. I'm like, oh, look at us. Just all kinds of tavern language.
True.
I love that so much.
Cheers.
Yeah. I'm craving a beer. Oh goodness gracious. That would be a wild interview, half asleep at the end. They're like, why is this interview 3 hours long? They fell asleep halfway through. They took tavern a little too literal.
Oh, that's interesting. Actually, what a lot of people might not know about me is I don't drink at all, which
You
is so,
don't?
yeah, it's so funny because I wrote a freaking Tavern album, right?
That is funny.
Yeah, but I really want to channel or like translate everything that happens in between the humans. And however it happens is not it's not my cup of tea. It's not even my concern, right? I just want to give that space and how people use it, that's up to them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's very therapeutic because that is often also something that can be powerful in the mental health field of focusing on the here and now and the space between the therapist and the patient beyond just let's talk about your problems, right? Actual relationship. How do you feel about what I just said? How are you feeling about us in this setting, right? So I feel like that is therapeutic. And I think that's why music in general, but your music in particular, can be part of people's healing is because you did the hard work. And thank you for all your hard work for this album and all your music. You're giving people a space to focus on the in between. Because quite frankly, as much as some people like a good drink, it is, as you said, often not about the drink or the food. That's wonderful and delicious and it meets a
Yeah.
basic need. But let's be honest, we could do that alone at home. I think a lot of people go to taverns and bars still to this day, that it's very relevant as ever, not only in the Middle Ages, right? In the medieval times, where people came together because that's community. And that meets a much bigger need than just, I'm hungry or I'm thirsty. And I think that is healing.
Yeah, I guess it's one way to arrive there. Yeah, but I think the ultimate healing is really the community and the being your authentic self and being perceived and perceiving others.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. May I ask, what do you want to be known for in this life? If that's not too personal of a question, when it comes to who you are and your music, if you want people to see you in that tavern, what do you want to be known for your legacy to be?
So I focused or like just before the whole crazy tavern promo started, I focused a lot of on like men's mental health or like mental health in general. But since a lot of my followers are mostly men, maybe that comes with the genre, the whole medieval rock and stuff. I noticed that they actually really appreciate when I open up about those topics and um, give them a space to talk. And so I also started putting that into my lyrics. Like I am with you is a big one for that. Or rise up. It's actually the next single that's coming up. Rise up out of the fire and forge yourself once more. So it's like an alliteration of like not sorry, a metaphor of like, the sword out of the fire. And, if you don't like the old version of you, or you think you need to be a certain way or whatever, but you are just constantly changing, and you're allowed to forge yourself in whatever you want and try that on and see how it's going, you know. So all of that is definitely paying into that. But for me personally, if we're switching from that's my music, that's, you know, I like to use my music a little bit like a tool, you know, like a sword. I want to fight that fight. Like that's what I love putting energy into. It's if I can help people feel seen, or in this case with the whole men's mental health, if I can encourage them to see, hey, people care about you, or if you don't like the way you are, you're absolutely okay the way you are, but feel free to let go of old versions of you. You know, that's totally fine. Um, Now that's my music. For me personally, I realized that, you know, if everything would end tomorrow, and I mean, if I don't know, the internet crashes and nothing exists, what is actually important to me personally? Like, you know, am I doing it for the fame? Am I doing it for the Gertie gods? What am I doing it for? And something I really noticed is there's a one big value, maybe two though. Yeah, maybe two. So the first one would be I just love being resourceful. And a lot of people know this word in basically like the shadow meaning of it, like having a few things and making something out of it. But the light side of the word is actually if you have like a project, knowing what to add to it and like sourcing it out of whatever you have in you or can come up with is like what makes me super happy. So whenever I see, okay, you know, I can actually throw a certain skill or throw a certain idea into that fire, and that will make it complete. That's what I personally love. And another thing is that, you know, talking about the guests and the features and the colleagues, that, you know, the whole list of the credits of this album is so incredibly long. Maybe I can show it here. So many people have been involved on this DVD.
So
It's
beautiful. That's
incredible.
beautiful work. That is just the beautiful work.
So
Oh,
that's just a couple of people.
I love that you included pictures. That makes it so much more personal. I need to get me the hard copy because I am an old school girl. The digital does not do the same.
There's even an elephant here. That was a crazy story. So all of these people, I just love the exchange of love in between us. So, you know, the appreciation of each other. Yeah, so the credits lists.
It's long. Oh, that's so beautiful. That was a big tavern then. It's a rich, full
Oh
tavern.
my God, yeah, that was a lot of people.
That
Yeah.
artwork is so pretty though. You look so gorgeous.
Thank
I
you.
need that. I need that album in my collection. I'm serious.
You like vinyls? I have vinyls. And not only that, Rosalie, look at that. I mean, first of all, huge.
Oh, what a Viking princess. Oh, you make me so proud.
It's green marble.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it has like gold shimmer.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you look like you need one.
Oh, I need one. I need one. Oh my gosh. People, go get her album and her vinyl and her CD. Please. Oh, this is beautiful work. That is a masterpiece. Oh, I'm so proud of you for enduring all that. Even the stress and the ebb and flow of the creativity and the oh, oh. I'm so excited. Sorry, I need to catch myself. I'm over here fangirling so hard. It's like, oh, hostess just lost her shit, melting on the floor. Where did Rosalie go? She's a puddle. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, du germanische Kriegerin. It's absolutely beautiful what you're doing, and what you even were saying about what you want to do for your music, but also personally. I like how you shifted perspectives yet again. I'm noticing that about you. You like to look at the in between, and you like to look at the opposites and the shapes and the patterns and look at things from a different angle. Even just what you said about not just looking at typical resourcefulness, you look for what you have and what you need, but using what you already have and building on that. It fits with what you said in the beginning about how you play your instrument, how you play the hurdy-gurdy,
Yeah,
where you
it's like a frame. Actually, frames are kind of great.
yeah. I love that. To build something bigger though, to break
Yeah,
the frame. You use the frame to break the frame, if you will, I
yeah,
guess.
or even finding new combinations. Ultimately, that's what our brain loves doing, is associating, right? Taking a couple of things, making something new out of it, kind of. Yeah.
That's
Mixed
so
genre.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so life-giving. Can I ask, when a lot of what you're saying is very life-giving and refreshing, and as you mentioned, you're aware of the duality of life. Do you look at it the same way when things are hard and dark? You know, like it's one way to say, oh, I want to make something life-giving, have fun at the tavern. What about the hard moments in the tavern? What about the people who are hurting, where we're not all just laughters and cheers? How do you go about that, or how would you encourage your listeners to view that side, the shadow side of the
Oh,
tavern?
I don't know how much time we have because
I don't want to keep you. I'm loving talking to you, but I don't want to keep you. Your time
no, I'm
is precious.
loving this too, but this can this can take some time.
Share. I have time. Share as little or much as you like, of course.
Okay, so actually there was a time where I was almost like allergic to not I don't want to say joy and happiness, but a certain kind of joy and happiness. It hurt me because I was hurting. And that hurt wanted to be felt. So what I decided is, you know what? If the hurt is so big that I cannot include such big aspects of life into my picture, let's maybe try this out then. You know what? I don't have to feel those things if the hurt needs that much space. What if I just give the hurt so much space? I decided to completely like flood my system with it. Completely bathe in it. And like actually a lot of people say don't do that, but I was like, you know what? My life, I'm going to arrive at death the way I want, right? And it it is it was hard, but this also made it like, walking through the dark valley made it so that now I actually can invite certain kinds of happiness. Yeah, so sometimes it's almost like you have to let everything enter your system and just give yourself to it. And the thing is, everything is temporary. Also hurt. Everything's temporary. And, the body heals by itself. So can your emotional body. And there's there's not much you really need to be afraid of if you know that.
I think that you're onto something. And I think people that say, oh, don't do that, don't get lost in it, I think that this is my opinion to a degree. I think it becomes dangerous when people get lost in it because they made sadness their identity. But what you're doing to me doesn't sound like you made it your identity. It meant that you acknowledged the space that it needed and you understood it to be temporary. And I think in that sense, it is very healthy because they say, feel your feelings, allow them to come through you. There's practitioners that are very focused on the soma, the physical, and they even talk about when it comes to healing from trauma that sometimes we're so quick to look at these strategies of how to get rid of the anger or what to do when you're anxious. And we so quickly talk about sit with it, but we don't actually increase our capacity to feel the anger. And that has to be built over time to let your body do what it was meant to do. Fear is not a bad thing, but we want to escape it, right? Anger is not a bad thing. Our body is literally doing what it was made to do. So actually allowing ourselves for it to fill the place it needs and to understand it's transient though, and it will keep flowing, and then there will be more space again to let some joy in. Allowing things to be the way that they're meant to be, I think, is healthy. I could only seeing it being tricky when we now hold on to it and make it our sense of self. But your strategy seems very therapeutic. And did that work for you? So you said eventually there was a little bit of space for joy. How did that come? How did it did not just all stay full of sadness?
No, it's a long and slow process, but if I was committed to life, and that is part of life.
Gosh,
So yeah. So go like fully immerse yourself in it. Absolute sadness is part of life, and if you're running away from your own sadness, then you are not fully committing to life.
God, that's good. If that's not already in one of your songs, that needs to be in the next album. I am committed to life. Oh, that gives me goosebumps. Oh, that fits so good with what we just said earlier about ich schulde dem Tod nichts. I don't owe death anything. I'm not going to hold back on that loan of life out of fear that death's going to come collect. It will anyways, but I don't owe it anything. So I'm going to be committed to life. Gosh, that gives me goosebumps. Ach, Patty, ich bin so stolz auf dich. I'm so proud of you. Oh, you like inspire me. Really. It's like, I don't know, my Germanic sister. I'm like, yeah. Gonna go run into a tavern now and just make a big fire and just dance around naked, you know?
Yes,
neighbor-
please come over.
my neighbors will be like, oh my gosh, she lost her mind. I'd be like, it's Patty's fault. Just listen to her music. You'll understand. Oh, it's so life-giving. Talking to you is so life-giving, and your music is too. I don't want to keep you too much longer. Is there anything else that you want to pass on to listeners, both your fans as well as people who might be new to you? Anything you want to say to conclude our conversation today?
Yeah, maybe just to sum that whole conversation up, because we've went through the valley of death today together. It was great.
Yeah.
Rosalie, we should do that more often.
Please.
Just to say, like, if you feel stuck in your current perspective, dare to switch to another one. Dare to try on a new shoe, and always see that you have full control and full choice over your own life in that way. So you can also try it on. You can flood your system, and tomorrow you can decide to stop it. Or whatever you think will bring you to the next level. And yeah, I guess yeah, that's a thought. I just wanted to end that crazy abstract
Yes.
topic with that. And I think being aware of choice is probably where a lot of power comes from. I could think. There's a word that doesn't. It's like self-actualization, like, where your own inner power and strength and the knowing about your own power.
Yes. This has probably been the most therapeutic and fun time at a tavern that I've ever had.
Oh my God.
And I've had some fun at some taverns and bars, but this has probably been the most therapeutic tavern experience in my life. Patty, as I said, I'm so proud of you. I'm grateful for what you're doing for all of us with your music. Watchers, listeners, viewers, please go check out her music. Go subscribe to Patty Gurdy on YouTube. Go check her out on Facebook, Instagram, all social media. Buy her vinyl, buy her CDs, support her. And yes, is there anything else we can do for you as your fans and your Gurdians?
Yeah, I mean, I love this instrument. So if you're interested in learning about it, I literally can't believe that it's not as famous as the piano and the violin, because it's that amazing. So go check out that instrument. I want to push it. I want to make it more known.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for your time today, Patty. You are a treasure and a goddess and a warrior queen on this planet. Thank you for allowing us to come into your tavern today and spend time with you. And yes, I just wish you all the blessings and joy and life that is in store for you.
Oh, this has been great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm so happy. Ach, freut mich so sehr.